Sugar snap peas. You like them in your stir fries? In this video, I'm going to show you how to grow sugar snap peas. Hi, this is Jeremy Stark here from Green Thumb Gardening, here to give you some tips, tutorials, and reviews for all your gardening needs. In today's video, we're going to actually show you how to grow sugar snap peas. We all love them. You put them in your stir fries. It's a great time of the year to start growing them. This time of year, basically these are cooler climate growing vegetables. So you want to make sure you plant these during the spring and the fall time of the year. We'll go over all the tips on basically how to grow them, how to start them from seed, and the best and optimal ways to grow it. But if you've been watching our show, I want you to please give us a green thumbs up. Let us know that we're making some great content here if you do like the video. Also, please subscribe below and hit that bell so they get notified of each video that we do have. Also, we have a website called gardenerthumb.com where we have tips and tricks and reviews and things like that if you want to do some reading on the subject as well. Now that we get that out of the way, let's get right into the show. When you're getting your basically where you're going to grow the sugar snap peas, you want to get the location of it pretty much settled in. The first thing that you want to make sure is that you have some sort of trellis, because the snap peas, they actually grow really well up, and it helps them with the circulation of it. You know, they really start growing in. So I always suggest to have a trellis for it. I mean, you can grow it, you know, on the ground, but I don't think they come out as good. They could get a lot of moisture on them. So you want to make sure that your area that you have is some kind of trellis. There's, you know, some different trellis ideas. You can find some, you know, online, but I just do a very basic, simple one. I can link up to actually a garden trellis that I built if you want to take a look at that as well, and basically how I built this particular one. Basically, you want to make sure you have the soil prepared for the planting of it. So a couple things that I always do. A lot of peas, they say that you need to have some kind of nitrogen germination fix in it. It's like inoculating the soil with this bacteria that releases a lot of nitrogen for the peas to grow. I've never done that. If your soil is, you know, has enough compost in it, then you really don't have to worry too much about it. However, you can, you know, it is definitely suggested that you do add some amendments in there if you don't want to use the bacteria. You can also buy the nitrogen bacteria if you want online. I'll put a link in the show as well, just so you can see what that is. But it's not necessary. I've had very good success without using it. The requirements of the peas are, they don't need a lot of NPK. They have actually low needs for the NP and the K. You want to have the soil, you want to have some of it in there. So what I did is I have a worm compost mix that I use, and basically I just put that and I kind of mix it in the soil where I'm going to be planting it, so that it will be available for the plants at the time. And then I also take a very general mix of organic amendments in here, and I'll put you know, what I use in basically my formula I do have. And this is more for a balanced requirements, but this will break down, you know, over time. So, you know, you get it in there, you work it in now, and it'll be available, you know, much later. But you also have to, you know, it is also good when after you do plant these to, you know, to actually supplement them with some nitrogen, because they will need some nitrogen at the beginning if you don't use that bacteria. All right, so I got this all worked in now, so that'll be good for later. So basically, one of the things with the sugar pea pods is that the time of year that you grow them is really vital, because they don't like the heat. They don't really do well in the really hot summers. So let me get a little comfy here. So you have to make sure that you do it either in the really early spring. Depending on where you are, you can do it, you know, here in North Carolina, gosh, I think you could do it almost in February, maybe the end of January, February, somewhere around that time. I usually do it in the fall. I don't really do it too early in the spring, although I might try another batch this year in the spring. So you just want to be aware of your temperature in your climate. And just be aware that this doesn't really do as well in the summertime because of the heat. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to, when you're getting ready to plant it, and so when when you the best time to plant it is. So the sugar pods that I have, these are a great variety. They're called Oregon sugar pods, sugar snap peas. I've had these seeds for quite some time. I keep them in the fridge, but normally I think they only last about 3 or 4 years. I'm gonna actually go heavy on this when I plant it, because just trying to get rid of these old ones. But if you get the ones from the store that you get and you do want to save them, I always suggest to get the heirloom, the open pollinated plants. So for those particular varieties, you want to look and make sure that you have the heirloom open pollinated ones if you want to save the seeds for it. Basically, are just going to plant these. You want to plant them about a depth of 1 inch, and you also want to plant them about 1 inch apart, as far as the spacing of it. Now, some people will do the trellis and they'll kind of stagger them around. You can do that. The only thing you have to be aware of is that if you do plant them kind of like here, is you kind of train them to go up the trellis as they do grow, just so that you can get the spacing right. So what I usually do is this particular trellis, I think it's about a 6-inch gap between each thing. So I put maybe, I'm gonna put like 2 in each kind of space. So I'll have a row of like maybe 4 or 5. And then when they start growing, I'm gonna train them to go up the trellis so that they're kind of a little neat and they're not kind of, all over the place. You'll just experiment. Some other people also use a kind of a wire mesh, and they basically go up that as well. So it really doesn't matter how you do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use the ones that I've had from 2012, 2013, and I'm gonna plant these very heavy just so that I can make sure that they do grow in here. I'm gonna plant about 3 of these in each hole, because I said these are a little bit older. So I'm gonna do about an inch depth. And these are fairly old seeds, so not too old. I do keep them in the refrigerator, so they haven't been out in the normal temperature right here. So I'm gonna basically just go heavy with them as well, and just kind of plant them as I can in here. So let's see, we're gonna get these out here, because I want to use all these up, and I'm not too concerned. I'll have to. What I would do is to thin these out actually of. So they are basically an inch apart, because I don't want them, too many in one spot. So I will, I'll thin these out when they do grow, just to make sure that they're all sprouting. So they do take about, anywhere between 10 to 14 days to germinate before you actually see them. So just, make sure that the soil around where you have them planted is moist each day. And depending on what time of year, like now it is August, September in North Carolina, the heat will really help with the germination of it. But also, if you're doing this during the spring and the early months, it might take the full 14 days or even a little bit longer to germinate, because it is a little cooler out. Even though it is more of a cool weather vegetable, the heat always seems to speed up the germination of it. All right. So what I would also suggest to do is, as soon as you see them sprout through, they germinate through and they push through, I would also get a liquid fertilizer, such as a fish fertilizer, and I would just do a nitrogen feeding of it, because they do need a lot of nitrogen when they first start out. So, if you're not just to be in there, it's really safe to just do that. Even if you have a lot of compost and amendments in here, it's always good to just give them a good start so they have a good chance. But they're pretty easy to grow. Once they start growing and they get on the trellis, you'll notice that they'll really grow and produce heavy for you, depending on the variety. So that's basically it on how to plant the sugar snap peas. If there's any particular variety of snap peas that you want to grow, let me know in the comments below. I'm always interested in finding out what everybody else is growing. And if you do like this show, please give us a green thumbs up. Let us know that we did okay here with this video. And also, if you could subscribe below, hit the bell for the notifications so that you get a notice of each time we post a video. Well, that's always and that's it for our video, and we'll see you in the next one.